Last year, we had the Nissan Ariya in for 6 months, and we thought it was one of the best cars in its class, not because it was particularly fast or exciting, but because it nailed the simple stuff. And for 2026, Nissan hasn't reinvented it, rather tweaked the bits that customers noticed weren't exactly up to par. So, has this fixed the very few issues that the original Ariya had, or is it just another mild facelift? Let's find out. Starting on the outside then, not a massive amount has changed. The old Ariya has aged pretty well, and so Nissan hasn't really gone crazy here. But front and centre, we've got a new V-motion grille where the body colour now blends into it a little bit more than the old model. Moving around the side, we've got some new wheels. These are lovely 20-inch items here, but nothing too radical. The most obvious change, though, is the paint, where before we had aura green with its colour-shifting nature from blues to purples. Here, we've got plasma green, which is lighter, a little more simple, but it's still got some flake in it, so it still sparkles nicely in the sunlight. But yeah, nothing's really changed much, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. The interior of the old Ariya was one of its strongest points, and I'm very happy to say not too much has changed. We've still got great materials, a wonderful layout, but unfortunately we still do have a lot of capacitive touch buttons, especially on the dash here, which while are fine to operate, are a little bit distracting if you want to keep your eyes on the road. Other buttons that have changed include the buttons to move this center console backwards and forwards. Instead of being on the side, they're now just on the top, which makes life a lot easier when it comes to finding them in a pinch. Further quality of life updates include that the wireless charger has moved, whereas previously it was in this center glove box, it's now on a plinth in front of the center console. And instead of using silly little bits of rubber to keep your phone in place, this relies on the G2 standard, more popularly known as MagSafe. So it uses magnets in an array in the center here to stick your phone in place so it doesn't move at all while you're going around corners or over speed bumps. One thing that was quite divisive about the outgoing Ariya was its blue interior option, and you'll be glad to hear it's gone. The only interior option you can now get is black, and it's a nice colour too. I think it's simple, basic, and there's nothing wrong with it at all. Speaking of interior trim, you also get heated and ventilated front seats. Other niceties includes the fact that we now have more space in the centre glove box, as well as more space in the centre console, and redesigned cup holders, which are a little bit tighter and should help to hold things in place that little bit better. On some trim levels, you also get a lovely panoramic sunroof here, which extends all the way to the back, where I now am. It's quite spacious back here. I've got plenty of knee room. That is my driving position at 6'3". That's 191 centimetres for our European friends. Headroom, however, isn't quite as strong. I've got quite a short bod, so if you're taller than me, or you have indeed a longer body than me, you might struggle for headroom. Similarly, the floor is quite high at the back, so there's quite a bit of space between the base of my thighs and the base of this seat, which is a bit of a shame, but all else is absolutely fine. We've got heated seats back here, as I mentioned already, and there's enough space here for 3 abreast. And again, this center console moves forwards if you need a little bit more knee room in the middle. You get 2 ISOFIX points in the rear, but unfortunately none in the front. We also get a nice fold-down armrest here, pretty basic, just a couple of cup holders, but it's nicely padded, and these seats fold in a 60-40 split, which gives you plenty more space in the boot. It's about the same as the outgoing model, which means you get 408 litres in the all-wheel drive model, which we don't get in the UK, or 466 litres in the front-wheel drive model. Fold those rear seats flat and you'll get up to 1,350 litres. You also get handy side pockets and some space underneath the boot floor, which is enough space for storing your charging cables. And for those who are hopeful, no, still no front trunk, but you do get gubbins. Tech has got to be one of the Ariya's biggest improvements. Up front and centre, it's now all powered by Google, so you get Google Maps built in without having to connect your phone. And you also get route planning, so it'll tell you where you need to stop and where's most efficient to stop if you're doing a longer journey. We also get charge limits. So if I go in here, you can set your charge limit from anywhere between 100 and 40%, which is good. And it was one of the big lacking points from the old model. You also get battery preconditioning, battery cooling assist, and all the fun stuff that helps make an electric car as efficient as it can be when it comes to both charging and driving. They have updated the Pro Pilot Assist program in this, so it should be a little bit better at avoiding some of those unnecessary accelerations and decelerations from the old car. While the Google update is good at face value, Volvo's been trying to do it for quite a while, and even their newest models still regularly throw errors and sometimes turn the screen off altogether. I haven't had any issues like that here today, but your mileage may vary. Speaking of mileage though, this is a car and the most important bit is driving it. So let's head out and see what that's like. So here we are out on said road, and it's honestly not too different from the outgoing Ariya, which again is a great thing. That car was tremendously refined and this has been updated. It's got a revised suspension system, and to be honest, I'm not noticing a massive difference from that old car. But yes, we're driving at some slow speeds now, but the benefit is that we're going through some rather tight and twisty technical roads. It's incredibly predictable and refined. Again, yes, it's electric, so it's never going to be loud, but I've got no road noise. We took it on the motorway earlier and there was basically no wind noise. It's just a comfortable place to be. And considering you've got no sound coming from the road, it gives you a great chance to listen to this sound system, which is a Bose article and is surprisingly good too. I say surprisingly because not all Nissan sound systems of the past have been all that amazing, but this is still a really nice thing to listen to. And considering we're talking about premium sound systems, it's probably worthwhile that we mention trim levels. Now there are two to choose from for the Nissan Ariya. The first is called Engage Plus. Now that comes standard with your suite of ADAS, which includes pre-collision warnings and all of that fun sort of stuff. And the next one above that is Advanced. Now that comes with that aforementioned Bose sound system, as well as a power tailgate and a heated steering wheel and a digital rear view mirror. So it gives you absolutely everything. Oh, and a 360 camera, so that's an 8 camera system, and it includes a special skeletonized mode which lets you look through the car, which is extra useful for making sure you don't curb any wheels or go over any raised manhole covers. So yeah, definitely a nice one to have. That Engage Plus trim comes in spot on at £37,000, and the Advanced trim comes in at a couple £100 over £43,000. Now I'd say it's a pretty clear-cut choice between the two depending on what you value. The £37,000 Engage Plus trim is plenty, let's not mince words here, whereas the Advanced gives you that much better sound system. It gives you a lot more goodies, especially if you're in a very cold British winter like we often are. Not so today here out in lovely sunny Barcelona, but at home in the months of December to February, you might want that heated steering wheel. It's also worth mentioning that those trim levels get you different battery sizes. So on the Engage Plus, that is a 63 kilowatt hour battery, whereas on the Advance, it's an 87 kilowatt hour. So that should get you between 250 and 330 miles of range. And if this is as unchanged as I think it is from the outgoing Ariya, then that will get you, in the bigger battery model, well north of 300 miles of range. I'm not saying it will get the full 330, but it'll definitely do more than 300, which is nice to have, especially on a longer journey. Now, another thing that's good to have on that longer journey, and one thing that was a common complaint of Tom's when he had it, is the Nissan Ariya's suite of self-driving, and I put that term very lightly, but basically advanced forms of cruise control. Now, in Tom's car, it would accelerate or brake a little bit erratically, whereas in this, and like I say, we have driven it a little bit on the motorway to and from the city, is a lot better. It's much, much smoother, and yeah, I haven't really had any issues with it at all. So hopefully we'll be able to get another long-term Ariya in, and we'll be able to assess that in much more depth further down the line. One thing that is standard on both trims of Nissan Ariya is vehicle to load, finally. So that can power anything from a blender to a microwave if you really want to in a pinch. So overall then, while not that much has changed from the outgoing car, it's still a very comfortable and capable vehicle to drive on the roads, both here in sunny Barcelona and hopefully back home as well. Unfortunately, charging remains about the same as the outgoing Ariya, which means you get 130 kilowatts of rapid charging. Now that will take you from 10 to 80% in about half an hour. It's enough, but it's a little bit disappointing for a new car in 2026. So has Nissan improved the complaints customers had with the original Ariya? Well, mostly. There are quality of life improvements like a relocated wireless charger, but there are also more important things like route planning, battery preconditioning, charge limits. However, there are some places where the new Ariya lags behind the competition still, like with that 130 kilowatt maximum charge speed. While it's decent, it's still not really enough, considering this is one of Nissan's more premium offerings. But should you buy one? Well, personally, I like it quite a lot, but maybe you should wait until we've done our long-term review, which I'm sure will get done at some point. In the meantime, make sure you head over to electrifine.com where you'll see a full written review for this drive. And when you get back, make sure you like, subscribe, and leave a comment with what your thoughts are on the new Nissan Ariya. Thank you for watching.